Nish, a young girl, is driving through the barren, desert land. She stops at a filling station to charge the car's batteries. The batteries are going to take 3 hours to charge. She looks around to pass the time, and watches the board for a black museum. She tries to enter the museum, but it opens at 11 a.m. She takes a drink, and waits outside. The door opens, and the owner, Rolo Haynes, introduces himself to Nish. He takes her in, and checks her bag for security. The air conditioner is not working. Rolo explains that the museum contains authentic, criminological artifacts, with each having its own, twisted, backstory. There's a sad, sick story behind almost everything. Rolo tells her the story behind one of his first souvenirs, Dawson's symphatic diagnoser. Rolo used to recruit people for experimental, medical technology. People with no health coverage signed up for free treatment in exchange for experimental treatments. Dr. Dawson Peterson, after performing an unsuccessful surgery, meets up with Rolo. Rolo tells him that they've been working on transferring information from one brain to another. He shows him 2 rats, Kenny and Hector. Kenny was trained to run through a maze, and then used their tech to transfer the training from Kenny to Hector, who never went into the maze. Hector was unable to solve the maze. After the experiment, one of the researchers spilled their coffee on Kenny, and Hector started squealing, just like Kenny. From this knowledge, they developed a neural implant, through which Dr. Peterson can experience what the patients experience, and be able to help them. He agreed to have the implant. They test the implant, and it seems to be working fine. So, they start with minor patients, like a minor fracture. A kid came in once, and he was able to diagnose problems that they weren't even looking for. The implant also helped him, in the bedroom, receiving pleasurable sensations too. One day, they brought in Senator Whitley, who collapsed at a fundraiser. Nobody knew what happened. Dawson hooked up to him, but even he couldn't tell, feeling the intense pain that he never felt before. Senator died while hooked up to Dawson. Dawson blacked out for 5 minutes. Turns out, Senator was poisoned. Dawson experienced death and came back. They ran tests on him, but nothing was wrong. But the experience had messed up his implant. At the time of death, all synapses goes out of existence. A flood of endorphins. He started enjoying pain. Back at work, the more pain he felt, the more pleasure he got. Dawson's craving for pain kept increasing. He hooks up to another patient, who had a heart attack, but he says nothing. They had to pull Dawson away from her. The patient dies in front of him, and he watches like an addict. He wants the implant to be deactivated. Rolo says, they'll look into it. Dawson goes home, and suffers withdrawal. He accidentally breaks a glass, and uses the broken glass to inflict pain on himself. For weeks, he kept inflicting pain on himself, but it was never enough. Fear was missing, since he could inflict pain on himself, but not fear. At night, Dawson tases a homeless person. He puts the device on him, and starts torturing him. The cops found him. He wound up in a vegetative state. Roy starts sweating, so Nish gives him some water. Roy drinks the entire bottle. He shows her a toy monkey next, part of what he was working on. He tells the story of Jack and Carrie. Carrie gets pregnant, and gives birth to a boy, Parker. She gets hit by a truck, while taking a picture of Jack and the child, and ends up at San Junipers. Years go by, but she never wakes up. They test a device on her, through which she can respond a basic yes or no. Roy meets up with Jack. He tells him that they've been working on a technology that can transfer the consciousness of one brain into another brain. They can transfer Carrie into Jack's brain, and she'll see what he sees, feel what he feels. Jack says he'll think about it, but Carrie responds yes through her device. Jack agrees, and the transfer begins. Jack can hear her inside his brain. She can feel Jack gripping an apple. He takes a bite, and she's able to taste it. Jack gives a hug to his son. Soon, they started getting into arguments over general disagreements. He lost all his privacy. And she is just a passenger who can't really do anything. Jack goes to Roy, who tells him that they can give him a little more control. They upgrade his privileges, letting him pause Carrie whenever he wanted. They get into an argument when he checks out a girl in the elevator. He puts her on pause for 2 months. She is upset and wants to see Parker. He hugs him. They reach an agreement. Jack put Carrie on pause, except for the weekends. Carrie gets angry when Jack talks to his neighbor, Emily. Jack puts her on pause. Jack and Emily start dating. Carrie gets upset about it. They visit Roy again. Roy tells them that they can permanently erase Carrie, but Jack disagrees, saying that it is ethically wrong to kill her. He shows them a toy monkey, and tells them that they can put Carrie in the toy. It has a camera, and a sensor. So she can see, and feel everything. They agree to the transfer. Carrie is angry, and wants to be put back in Jack's head. Carrie could say 2 phrases, "Monkey loves you," and "Monkey needs a hug." Emily takes the monkey, and threatens to erase her permanently, if she doesn't behave properly. After a while, Parker gets tired of the toy. Nish says that this is a crime museum. So, where's the crime in this story? Roy reveals that UN made it illegal for consciousness to be transferred into limited formats like the monkey. They need to be able to express themselves. And it's illegal to delete her too. Carrie is still in there, in the monkey. He got fired from his job, because of the monkey. That's why he started the museum. He takes her to his prime exhibit next, a man named Clayton Lee. It is not really him, but a fully conscious upload of him. He reveals that he went to visit Clayton in the prison. Clayton wants Roy to look into the DNA thing, and prove it wasn't him. He convinces him to have his digital copy, and he'll pay a share of the profits to his family, in case he gets sent to the chair. Clayton's wife tries to dissuade him, but he tells her that this will keep a roof over them. He was convicted, even though there was some doubt regarding the murder. The DNA was tempered. Roy copied his consciousness, before he was killed on the chair. He brought the copy into the museum, via a hologram. He hooked him to a chair, and let the customers give him an intense shock for 10 seconds. After which, the customers get a souvenir, a perfect replication of how the execution went. Dawson's pain tech let Clayton feel every shock. Roy starts coughing uncontrollably. Nish asks him to take a seat. She tells him that he is missing parts of the story. Clayton's wife started a campaign against the museum. There was a protest, but the protesters got bored after a while. But the museum lost its customers after that. After that, only loners, supremacists, and sadists visited the museum. But that crowd wasn't big enough. So Roy started charging extra, in exchange for a longer time at the crank. Clayton's copy wasn't the same after that. Not dead, but not fully alive either. Nobody wanted to pull a lever on the vegetable. Clayton's wife arrived at the museum, and saw him. Nish puts her hand on the glass, and Clayton's copy does the same. It is revealed that Nish is Clayton's daughter, and it's his birthday today. Watching him like that broke Nish's mom. She went home, and took a bottle of pills, with a bottle of vodka. She reveals that she is the one who hacked the air conditioner, and disabled it. She had poisoned the water that she gave to him earlier. Nish puts a device on his head, to clone his consciousness. She transfers Roy's consciousness into the virtual brain of her dad. She removed the 10 seconds limit for the shock. She pulls the lever, and watches her dad die. She gets a souvenir of Roy, getting shocked for eternity. She takes the monkey, and leaves the museum. She hangs the souvenir in her car. It is revealed that she has her mom's consciousness inside her head. The episode ends with her driving away, while the museum burns down. Like, and subscribe, for more videos like this.